They had law enforcement or national security concerns about declassifying parts of the Democratic memo. So it turns out sources and methods were contained in the Democratic memo, so they're going to get rid of them. The reason they didn't want the Republican memo to come out is because it omitted things. There wasn't enough in there. A very big difference. The hypocrisy coming from Democrats on this, very glaring.
But the point here is that the pressure to revise this Democrat memo before the president could declassify it, the pressure is coming from the FBI and the DOJ. And the news of a letter or from the DOJ and FBI that it needs to be made, the pressure, if you will, where was that? That wasn't anywhere. And then on the Republican memo, Assistant Attorney General Stephen Floyd sent this letter to every media outlet saying, don't release the Republican one. This now, we finally learned how the story ends, and that is the pressure is coming for the revision from the FBI and DOJ.
Right, but the bottom line is the pressure is coming from the DOJ, the FBI. That's not the headline. The headline is exactly what the Democrats wanted it to be, which is Donald Trump's trying to repress or cover up what we have in our memo. Although congressmen who have seen the Democrat memo say it does not refute any of the things that were in the Republican memo, saying how the FISA warrant was, they were being misled in that warrant.
We had Representative John Radcliffe on, who had seen the Democratic memo and seen the underlying FISA evidence. This is what he had to say earlier on the program.
To understand what's in the Democratic response memo, you have to understand what's not in it. And what's not in it is a representation that the FISA court was ever told that Hillary Clinton paid for the dossier that was used to spy on a Trump campaign associate. They weren't told that Christopher Steele was desperate and passionate about preventing Donald Trump from becoming president. And the FISA court also wasn't told that that same Christopher Steele had a personal relationship with the #4 lawyer at the Department of Justice, Bruce Orr, and his wife, Nellie Orr, who did the research for the dossier at Fusion GPS. Those are all facts that should have been disclosed to the FISA court and never were.
Now, this is interesting because going forward this week, this puts Democrats in a difficult position in the House Intelligence Committee because the FBI and the DOJ is saying it needs revisions. The memo goes back. They can no longer push back on the White House for being at blame. They're going to have to choose to make revisions, presumably, and send it back to the president, for which he will then declassify it.
We talk a lot about these memos. The bottom line is it looks like there was deception to the FISA court about what was really happening, potentially for political motives. A lot of people want to know. Few people have seen what was said in front of that FISA court. I think a lot more needs to be revealed there. But if you step back even more, there's a poll that came out yesterday at Investors Business Daily that shows that 55% of Americans believe that the Obama camp spied on then-candidate Trump. Think about that number, 33% of Democrats, with all the overwhelming Russian collusion narrative that's come from all the other buildings on this island who hate President Trump. Yet the American people, you are not dumb. You are not hoodwinked. You understand when people are lying to you. And that's why these memos matter, because the truth matters. And you see that they hate Trump so much they don't care about the truth. I mean, God bless what Senators Graham and Grassley have done with their memo, which I think has been underreported, which validates the Nunes memo. Democrats can try all they want to muddy the waters, but if you spied and you're being caught for it, the American people are wise.
And that's why I love when we bring Dan Bongino in, because he just really kind of synthesizes it. I mean, this is military-state kind of... Police-state kind of activities, and this is Obamagate. We can't kind of forget who started this entire spying. It was under his regime, and that's what we have right now. And by the way, our sitting president right now still is being under investigation for Russia, with nothing to prove for it.
All based on an unverified dossier.
All based on a dossier paid for by the Democrats.
By Hillary. And thanks, Hillary.